What's up with it? It's Big Bro Grizz. You watching Player Talk. Today, I'm coming in with a new topic that I've not touched on before on the internet. I'm gonna talk about church, the church. Talk about the word of the Lord. That's what we're about to talk about, right? So, I ain't been to church. I went to church for the first time in a really, really long time. What was it? Last Wednesday. I went to Bible study, but now they call it group meeting. It was pretty cool. I'm gonna be honest, just to get that out the way. It was really, really cool. And I've had a lot of questions about church. A whole lot of questions. And not so much about church, but more so just about understanding faith and religion and the spiritual journey and where to lay your hat in this whole realm of saying, what do you really believe in? Having a clear understanding of what you believe in. And as I'm still walking through life, I would like to have more confidence in saying for sure what I believe in. Other than just saying like, oh, I'm spiritual or I believe in God. And not that there's anything wrong with that. I just feel like I'm saying it as a default because I'm unclear about other things. I was raised up in the church like most of us, Christian church, people going around catching the Holy Ghost and everything. The preacher, and the Lord, that type of vibe. And it was a dope environment at the same time because you had a bunch of friends in the church and y'all had activities and y'all did church field trips and stuff like that, or go out of town with the church, skate party. So church was dope too at the same time back in the day. Because I went to a church. I went to Skylight Baptist Church, right up there off of 71 Highway, like off of, what was that, Gregory, that 75th, off of 75th, and the highway sitting up at the top of the hill. And Reverend Arnick was our pastor. Yeah, Reverend Arnick was our pastor. And it was dope, like I said, because it was like, how many members we had? We probably had like between, I'll probably say between 50 to 100 members. So it wasn't an itty bitty church, but it wasn't a big church. But when I say 50 to 100, that's total members. So in any given service, it's probably more like 40 people in the service. It's probably like 40 to 60 people at any given actual service. So it ain't an itty bitty church, but it ain't no big church. So it was more like a family. Our church felt like an actual family. You know what I'm saying? Where it ain't humongous, but it's a couple people you don't know that well, but you pretty much know everybody. So that's my church background. Before I get too deep into this, and I don't want this video to go too long. So I've been reading this book by Dr. Miles Monroe called The Power and Purpose of Men. And it's been very informative. I'm like on page 80, I think. It's been real informative because he's a pastor. So the book has a lot of scriptural reference, but it's not a book about religion. But he just uses certain religious points or a particular scripture just to, accentuate his point. Because I find myself, this is what's funny, and this is kind of why I'm here, to be honest. As I keep going further and further in life, I'll be talking about anything. I'll be talking about any kind of topic. I'll be talking about music, movies, art. I'll be talking about anything. And for some reason, to get my point across, I'll start referencing to old scriptures or something like, yeah, because when, first thing that happened was, Genesis, and then what happened, you know, or even if you reference something as simple as everybody got to rest. Even after God created everything, he took a day to rest on Sunday. Everybody needs to take a break. Like if you just referencing something like that to somebody like, dude, sit down, slow down, take a break, man. Everybody got to take a break sometime. Just as an example. So I'm reading a book by Dr. Miles Monroe, The Power and Purpose of Men, right? And it's a lot of dope keynotes in there. But this is the point that stood out to me. He talked about purpose. He said, when you don't know the purpose of something, abuse is inevitable. If you don't know the purpose of something, abuse is inevitable. And that was very powerful. That was very, very powerful to me. Because I know we all laugh and joke about putting things together without looking at the instructions or rigging stuff up to make it work how we want it to work. So, we talking about ourselves as people, as human beings, that if we don't know our purpose, we will abuse ourselves and we will be abused. So for us as a whole people, we see that we could thrive and do better as a whole human race. And then talking to my people, my demographic, we see how much we struggling and we pretty much on the bottom of the totem pole in being measured to the rest of society. So clearly we're not functioning within our proper function. So we are being abused and we are abusing ourselves, having a toxic culture. So what was the thing that really stood out the most to this for me is understanding what is your function. So how does this relate to the church and what I really want to say? So for me personally, it's getting to accept my function. I don't think it has so much to do with you learning your function, because at a certain point in life, I think for everybody they mature at different ages and they have that aha moment at different points. So as you mature through life, at some point you just gotta pick a lane. You got a handful of stuff you know how to do, handful of stuff you're interested in. You gotta pick a lane and go in it. So choosing the function with a clear mind and a clear heart, choosing a legitimate function that's gonna benefit yourself and society, and you can be proud of, and you can talk about it with your chest out. So the point I'm really want on is the purpose of the church. So as I kind of noted a few minutes earlier, where it was at Skylight at my old church, it was more like a family. It felt like every Sunday felt more like a family reunion than it did so much church. Even though we had one of them drag out churches, they would kind of drag out and don't let us have a visiting church. If we got a visiting church, oh man, you already know. Tell grandma to load up on some candy and just yikes, because it's about to be a long one if we have a visiting church. Because they about to be in competition. Them pastors, it's about to be like a rap battle up there where they about to be going bar for bar on these scriptures, trying to prove who got the illest bars up there. I know what y'all be doing. I'm hip. So, so we do this stuff like the skate party. Skate party was real big. And since we talk about skate party, I can't talk about it without talking about skate land. That's roll bounce. Skate land is roll bounce, all right? We used to tear it up. I mean, it was, because it's different. You got my church era at skate land where I was real awkward and I could barely skate. And I thought the coolest thing in the world was to be able to skate backwards and snap your fingers at the same time. I was like, oh shit, they smooth than a mofo. Like, he can skate backwards and snap his fingers. Like, oh, he too cool. So, then I had like my era where I was awkward and I liked girls, but I didn't know how to talk to girls. So we'd be all excited. We finally get somebody, mama, to drop us off at the skate ring. We a little older. I'm like, yeah. I think I got on a cool outfit. And I sit over there and look at all the girls I like. You know what I'm saying? And then I had my other era where, okay, now I'm kind of feeling myself. I'm kind of popping a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So we going up in here, and I'm kind of like, I'm too good for y'all anyway, man. Back up off me. You know what I'm saying? This is when the Living Legends was popping. All right, like this is the era I'm talking about the Living Legends era. So you already know it was really going down. So you had that era where skating was just huge. So I digress. Let me get back on point. So skating thing, that was really dope in church. Lots of barbecues. I remember we went to Dallas. We went to Dallas, Texas on a field trip. I don't remember a lot about the trip. I just remember we went and I got a picture of it with me and my sister in the picture. And I remember we went to Denver, and I remember being with me and my sister as kids, looking up at the mountains like, dang, you know. So stuff like that was cool. So what's the function of the church? That's what I really question, because with the way information is now, the speed of information, you can kind of reflect back to things very easily. You can build a timeline on things very easily now because information is so available and so easy. It's a Google, a Siri, you know. I'll make sure my thing didn't come on when I said that. You know, it's so easy to get information. So you can see, okay, as a community, we've been pretty much behind the ball for a real long time. And I'm gonna start here. I'm gonna start at the civil rights movement. How long? I'm 11 minutes in. I'm gonna try to keep this video under 20 minutes. I'm gonna try to do that. So let's start at the civil rights movement, because I don't like talking so far back to stuff I don't know nothing about. Nothing. So I can't really talk nothing past the civil rights movement. So I'm gonna say, like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, right? They conducted their business in the church. The church was their office. It was their meeting ground. It was their nursery. It was their bank. It was, it was a little bit of everything. This was the purpose of the church. Due to the social climate, this was the safest place for people to convene without feeling like they're going to be attacked or threatened, So the church had a very obvious, clear, and functional purpose back during the civil rights movement time period. Don't beat me up for being inaccurate on dates, but like the 60s, 70s, 80s, 60s, 70s, let's say 60s and 70s. Civil rights movement, so that the church had a real strong function, and it was the necessity. It was like, man, what are we gonna do without church in the community? So now, in comparison, I look in the neighborhood I grew up in, it's almost a church for every liquor store. And you know how many liquor stores is in the hood. So it's some blocks, like for real, like in my mom's neighborhood, where I grew up, it's some blocks that have 3 churches on them. It'll be a church on each corner, and then it's a church in the middle of the block on this side, like a whole church. Just in general, it's like on what, Linwood? Is that Linwood or 31st? One of, once you hit Benton, it's a church here, church on this side, church on this side, church on this side. This used to be a church, but they done converted it into something else. So for me, I'm like, it's so much, the word is so prevalent in the hood, and it's so much praise to the high power, but the hood look terrible though. How we got so much of the word circulating through the neighborhood, but the hood looks so terrible though. So this is where I start to ask the question about function. What is the actual function of the church? So let's get the elephant out the room of money. Honest, truth be told, I still am in support of the church. I just think it needs to, just like we all do, I think the church needs to find its way back to being a power in the community. So, function. What's the function of the church? Because we kind of been here. I grew up in the church, and I don't feel like the church, I feel like the ceiling for the church is a lot lower than it should be. So let's say the other church I went to, Second Missionary, out in Grandview. That was another dope church. Pastor Ford. That was another dope church. I was able to play basketball at Second Missionary. Second Missionary was the first place in terms of an organized team that I could play on that actually let me play, and I finally saw what I could do, and I could hoop. Because I'm playing against a lot of dudes that's in the IL as well. They're in this league as well. So I'm like, man, this dude play for that school. He played for that school. And I'm like, sure, I'm doing this and doing that. Why ain't I playing when I'm in school? So it gave me an opportunity to spread my wings a little bit. And they had a track team called the Wind Steppers. It was, man, this was a much bigger church. This wasn't like Skylight. This was a big church. They had banners all in the rafters of they Wind Stepper track competitions. And like I said, our church had 2 basketball teams. I played for the Crusaders one year, then I played for the Tar Heels another. How you got multiple? We had a full, when I say a gym, I'm talking about a workout facility. I'm talking about mirrors all across the room. All right, so I see they function, and I'm not saying that is the function of the church. That's what it's supposed to be. I'm just saying, for me as a young person, I'm getting a lot of value out of the church and in a good environment. So for me, this is what I'm gonna say, because I'm gonna wrap this up and try to wrap this up in a minute or two. This is what I'm gonna suggest. I suggest that, especially in my demographic in the hood, we create a youth program specifically for the young men, because it's been stated over and over again that in my demographic, one of the biggest problems, if not the biggest problems, is fatherless homes. It's fatherless homes and a lack of male leadership in the community. So this is why I say, for the churches, I would encourage them to create a program for the young men specifically on this. Let's start small. Let's not try to create a whole academic schedule. Let's start real small and real functional. Something that's easy and accessible. Every young man should be able to change a flat tire. We should have a course at every church where you get a certificate and like acknowledgement for learning how to change a flat tire. And if you a teenage boy, you should be taught how to change oil. Those are 2 very simple, very fundamental practices that could be very useful and beneficial. Think about if all the boys could now go and be reliable. If they with their moms and they get a flat, they can be reliable to change the flat. And they can also save their moms a few dollars every month or every few months if they could change the oil for their moms and not tear a car up. And just for them and themselves in general, as they grow up, that's one less thing they gotta go. Why you gotta go get your oil changed when you learn from the church? They taught us how to change oil. They taught us how there's a little basic stuff. So change a tire, change oil. I think that would be a great way to kind of start becoming more functional and building stronger men, not just by preaching the word, because the word is good. And I'm wrapping it up. I got 2 minutes. The Book of Eli is one of my favorite movies. I'll probably do another video about that by itself, because it talks about how they can take this same word and just use it for bad, or you can take the same word and use it to build something worthwhile. So it's not about abandoning the word, because don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal. Let's not do that. It's just use it the right way. So I think the churches should implement a youth program for the young men where we start off something real simple, real functional, by teaching them how to change flat tires and how to change oil, and then go from there. So this is Big Bro Grizz. You watching Player Talk. Shout out to Kansas City. Shout out to E16 TV. If you don't know, everything's about to blow up, y'all. It's going down. Everything's wide open. 2024, the year of the real. Don't say I didn't tell you. Player Talk, Big Bro Grizz. We out of here.